All right, perfect.
When you say hi, Tom, I'll come on.
There we go. It looks like we're all connected. Hi, Tom. Hope you're feeling better.
I'm feeling fabulous, fabulous,
Oh,
fabulous.
you look amazing. Do you have a little jingle or a tune? Hey, if it's raining, windshield
There
wiper.
you go.
Hey,
One
we're
of
all,
one of my one of my weaknesses, Michelle. I don't know if you do this.
I have
Um,
no
you know
weaknesses.
when you go shopping, like you're a little more frugal than me. I'm getting better, but you know when you go shopping and you give yourself a reason to buy something utterly useless.
Totally.
So I'm going to see the grandkids in a few weeks.
Nice.
My youngest one doesn't need
Oh,
these. You know how many dollar store wigs, different color wigs I've gotten her? She's probably got 10.
I love that.
It's but but I'll even go, oh, that little figurine to go on my shelf, that'd be perfect.
Mm.
But I'm learning to say no to half of them.
See, baby steps are still steps. Good for
I'm
you
still
for
okay.
making progress.
Yeah. So hi everybody.
Hey, everyone. Glad to be with you this week. So, are you feeling better? Was it a flu? What's going on?
It was there was something physical like stomach, but
Oh,
it was almost, and I've been off this week. I've got a staycation, which is great,
nice.
right? But
Yeah.
it was weird. It kind of came on Wednesday, and then I was almost more lethargic, so I wasn't sure about my being anemic or what it was, right? But
Yeah.
I felt like when I messaged you and then said let's cancel it, I thought I hope I'm not a flu virus, like a stomach
Right.
type thing, right?
Sure.
But I just chilled out, drank a lot of water.
Yeah. Awesome. Good. One day at a time, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Very good. Very well. And 'tis the season. Now that we're getting in all the different kinds of weather, like it or not,
yeah,
this is what's going to happen is we're going to have different kinds of weather, and we sometimes are, not going to be expecting it, or our immune system isn't ready. That's the other part of it as well, right? So,
yeah, yeah. It's and then again too. I think I mentioned on my page I shared our list of. I was telling
thank you. Yeah.
Michelle today is our 30th.
Woo!
We'll do pom poms twice. We'll do it when more people come, but our 30th um, live. So we've hit a milestone.
It's amazing. I love that. We're dirty 30.
30-30.
Uh,
But yeah, it's and it's funny because creating a habit, it's something we've done. I think we've missed two.
I think that's accurate. Yep, I think
Yeah.
that too.
And I think both on me.
I think so. That's
Yeah.
fine.
But anyways, yeah. So yeah, it's you know, this idea of putting in the work, like it's just anything. Like I kind of this whole idea of reset, that's kind of my word these days. But I'm resetting a lot of things in my life. And it doesn't mean like I go, oh, I suck, and then try to like I don't play good cop, bad cop with myself.
Right.
The bad cop smacked me up in the face a bit. The good cop say, hey, just ignore him. He's a bad guy. You
Yeah.
can you can do it. We should do a little acting scene. One of
All
these.
right. Like the movie you were in.
That's a bad movie.
It's
I don't think it's
I
on
have a
YouTube, which is
copy
great.
somewhere.
Yeah. It's a sci-fi. It's not anything like rated.
Amazing.
It's
It's amazing.
rated dumb, actually.
It's
But yeah, how's Michelle doing?
She's all right. Humidity is not my friend, but life in general is pretty good. I went for my 6 month checkup with my lung guy, and he is really happy with my progress. I had a CT scan, and grateful for free healthcare. I'll tell you that. So that came out good. He's pretty happy, and there's a way that I can get an injection every week or an infusion that will put the gene I'm missing back into my system. It only lasts a week, but I haven't been able to get it because it's $1,000 a dose, and OHIP just approved it.
So it's available.
So it's available. I'm waiting for them to call me.
I
It's amazing.
I was doing some budgeting a little while ago because I was going like, holy crap, like what's going on, right? Because I make
Yeah.
decent money,
Yep.
and my medical supplies for my ostomy supplies, and once I pay $3,000, pharmacare kicks in, pays for it.
Yep.
But my type 2 diabetes and kind of some medication I take just to make sure
Yep.
my body would stuff, right?
Crazy. Yep.
I was paying $500 after my coverage through work a month, not a week, a month.
Yep.
And I'm going, and then I was thinking of seniors that have different surgeries and they're on a pension.
Yep.
I'm going, how do they survive? And I've heard horror stories from some of the nurses I know.
Yep.
Like some of them say they're supposed to change like wound dressings every, say, 2-3 days. Some of them can't afford the dressings. So so it's sad. Like in a country like us, I'm going, how do we not have medical, like even with mom, she just got this dental thing the government released this year, I think.
Yeah, if you're 80, you got to be 80 to get dental work.
Is it? Okay. So, and it's not everything, but anyway, so
Yeah.
so I just go, man, like
But the other side of it, sorry to cut you off, is can you imagine if like I had to pay for that CT scan? And if we had to pay for every doctor's visit? Like I was talking to an American today, and he asked me where I lived, and we ended up in a conversation about our leaders and
is
stuff.
this a pickup?
No, here's about 100. I don't think so.
Okay.
And
That could have been a good pickup.
yeah, well, you know. So he asked me something about Trudeau, and I was brief but honest. And then he says, well, you guys have so many good things, the healthcare, the this and that. And I said, hey, I want to swap out our leader, but I'm not saying I want to give that up, because it's been a very real acknowledgement to me that, I mean, I haven't needed the hospital a lot, but even my 3 kids, I never would have been able to afford to have them in a hospital. Like when you go a la carte for everything you need. So as much as I hate putting out $400 a month for inhalers, at the same time, at least I don't have to pay to see the doctor. At least I'm going to have this new thing. At least, you know what I mean? There's your attitude of gratitude, right? Exactly.
So of course, this is I saw somebody the other day when I went to school in Toronto, in grade 11, I don't know what class, social science, maybe whatever, but we had a debating class.
Oh, cool.
And so I'm setting up what I'm going to say to you, what you just said about our healthcare. But I'm just playing this guy in this shoulder, right?
Sure.
And so one of the things I remember, so we're going to talk later today, we're going to talk later about, I just thought it'd be a good idea just to kind of review a little bit of, this is our 30th, I'm going to say 35 times today, because we've got a bunch of people back on now.
Do it. Hi, everyone.
This is our 30th recording live, whatever you want to call it, right? But so in high school, I remember this one time, grade 11, I think it was. And so they'd break off the class in groups of, I don't know, 2 or 3, and we debated against other people. And it was on the death penalty. So this is in
interesting.
And so you would debate either pro. So the first week you would debate pro, and then the second week you would be against. And it was in class, you're just thinking, oh, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You're just learning to like argue people. But I love that kind of mindset of not, if you're a negative person, maybe it's not good, right? But so saying all that, my daughter works for a company we talked about before that she deals with medical with Ozempic in the States, even though she's in Canada. And so when she first started, she's been there over a year now, and she said, Dad, some people that need Ozempic, sometimes if they have a private plan, it's this. 200-300, and some people will be 2,000-3,000,
That's right.
and it's all over, right?
Yep.
So back to us though. See, I still think though, like if we were, sorry, I got dry lips today. If humidity, if we or dryness, not the opposite. But see, I would, and there's probably somewhere, but it's all hidden up with political red tape.
Sure.
Like if we were able to go look at like an overview of the budget spending, I actually believe you could find it somewhat, but there's so many like hidden
Probably. Yeah.
trails, right? But
Yeah.
if we were able to look at like our home budget and to be able to go, you know what? Um, what you just said is great, but it's like our veterans or our seniors, like,
Yeah.
and I'm
We're
not, so
missing.
we're not going to go into, we all have different views maybe on like immigration, all that. Like it's, to me, it's great to be kind and nice, and that's who I am for those that have listened for the 30 shows. But there's a thing of taking care of your own in a way. Like you don't want to, at the expense of your own, do like be a globalist or it's not even that. You could, it's about what you, how, where your values are, right? And of course during a political season, which is we're next year, I think you're going to start seeing all the promises. Oh, well, now we're going to keep that promise because we want your votes again, right? But with medical, I agree with everything you say. I had an MRI. You've had X-ray, CT scan?
Mm.
Have you had an MRI?
I don't know. They did a lot when I was in the hospital.
The
So I'm not
MRI
sure.
is when they put you through a thing that's a little donut. It's a big donut, and they put you through. And for a guy like me, my
Oh,
shoulders
well,
actually
that's what I just had.
MRI. Okay.
Just goes, yeah, that's right. And they,
And it
yeah,
took like an hour, 40
no,
minutes. Okay.
no, but they're just doing my lungs. Like they tell me to breathe.
Was your face right in the bottom of the machine? Was it this
They,
close?
they don't put me in that far.
But they're doing your
Oh,
lungs, so
no,
they
I
have to.
guess so. Yeah, I suppose so. But my feet are out. Like my feet aren't in a tube.
Yeah,
I'm going
my
right
my
in.
my feet don't care. My feet don't
Yeah,
have an opinion.
right,
I'm claustrophobic, so I'm in
right.
there and I have my hands over here
That's
because if I
right.
go this way, I get stuck. I got stuck. I had it done in England. I got stuck.
Oh, see, they make me put my arms up.
Yeah. So headphones.
No?
Yeah. So I think the MRI machine is the loudest,
Oh,
and
okay.
the CT. They're kind of the same, anyways.
Yeah, I don't
So,
know. I'd have
so
to
they
look.
were doing my hip and my body, my cavity, my trunk, right? But it's so interesting. I don't know why I came to this because we're talking about the government and
Mm,
medical and stuff. Um, but anyways, these machines, I was in there, I go like, with technology, can't we make a bigger hole like for the bigger people? And
mm.
the tech that was there, it's so good. It was a young guy, young girl, and he said, yeah, they're like raising funds. He goes, a machine like this is probably $10 million.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely.
And so anyways, yeah,
Yeah.
I guess my thing, going back to what you're saying, my thing is that I think anybody, like we think of what we do to deal with people on the street and homeless, like
Yeah.
all nothing bad stuff we've talked about a bit, but on that budgeting, seeing our government budget for the year, the rent, the gas, the food, paying the staff, like
Yeah.
on running a business, um, I don't know. I'm just sad. I think where mom is, and in that unit, it's mostly seniors that live on
A
they're
bed.
below
Yeah.
poverty, way
Yeah.
below.
Oh,
And so
sure.
why should they pay for medication?
Right.
Like it drives me nuts.
In Britain, you wouldn't. In
No,
Britain, when you're a senior, yeah, like they don't have free healthcare per se, but my mom used to say that all the time. If I just went back to England, I wouldn't have to pay for it.
Britain. Here's the deal with Britain. I was there right 10 years ago. Britain's free,
Mm,
and so I had to have dental work done here. I had to have a partial.
yep.
And with my plan at work, out of they paid 50%. I had to pay $3,000.
Yeah.
In England, I got the exact same partial because I brought it back. I couldn't wear it because my mouth is claustrophobic.
Oh, interesting.
I have to write a book about that. Is your mouth it cost me £250, and I
Okay,
got to whatever dental, that was the top you would pay for dental.
okay. Yeah,
All the other regular stuff is free, but
yeah,
if you needed like major, whatever they would call it, I'm gonna
yeah.
turn that. I don't think I need it. That's good. So, anyways, yeah, that's
I
just, I'm thankful for what we have,
Mhm.
and
But we could do better. I do agree.
well,
We're
we contribute to it. You and me pay through
Yeah,
our work and stuff. But anyways, yeah.
yeah, we could do better. There's always
Anyways,
people missed out, but you know, nobody asked us, do they, how to set this stuff up? Because we'd have some opinions.
it would be,
Absolutely.
it would be, ha ha ha, laugh. I feel like I'm a satire. It would be interesting if the people in power, the governments, different countries, would
Yeah,
ask the people what they think is important.
I agree. If we
Wouldn't
had
that be
like a
interesting if they did
detailed
that?
voting, no, I've always said that. Very interesting voting because you'd be able to see no matter what the topic is, because it's supposed to be about the people, right?
But
Yeah, it's definitely interesting and there's some work to be done. That is
but
for sure.
so
But
I was being silly. I must be on some medication or something like that.
mm,
I must be on that
I
reel I sent you about the
yeah,
Seinfeld's all hiding. But anyways, yeah. So in saying that, for me, that's what they're supposed to be about. Like the whole history of government and through the different components, and back with politics with Caesar and Rome and all through life, right? But now, like on North America, both countries, um, if you think about the platforms that these people get elected,
yeah.
local and national, like I'm curious how many of the policies that they stood for that we voted them for, like how many did they miss? Like I would be surprised if they
Yes.
get 50%.
Exactly. And you know, the other thing, sort of on the same topic, I can't believe how people can blatantly lie on video and then think that there isn't a video trail that's like, it just totally boggles me. Just to like, and just spew a promise that you're not going to keep, or, say something or take a spin on something, that's just totally unrealistic. And you just think, it's just, it boggles me because integrity is so important to me. So I just can't imagine, like, it's okay to say, I don't know, but I acknowledge there's a problem. It's okay. Like, people have struggle saying that, right? Or like, it's just, we're in such weird times. This, no wonder, it's such a crisis with whether it's mental health, obesity, um, whatever it is. It's funny, when I was seeing my doctor, I joked to him and I said, well, no worries, I haven't started smoking or drinking because it's my liver that's affecting my lungs. And obviously, I shouldn't smoke. And he laughs and he goes, well, actually, it's not really the drinking anymore. It's fatty liver that's affecting people. And we got into a big topic about that. But it's so interesting. And these are all, everything's related, right? Whether it's the stuff in the food, how we preserve it, the packaging leaching through, and not to be like depressing, but knowledge is key, right? So, realizing everything that you're putting into your body, or exposing yourself to, you're getting some sort of cause and effect, right? That's why, like, with the, and we both sort of mentioned this before we came on, it's good to know about what's going on in the world and in the government, but you want to slide in, get the deets, slide out, go plant your garden, or go watch a good movie that makes your heart hum, or whatever that looks like for you. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, we get so overwhelmed with, facts and non-facts and things that we can't control that get us so upset. That's what we're seeing a lot of right now, right? People have hit their tipping point, both countries, and then they're acting out. And, it's interesting times. So I think that's why, like, us getting together every Wednesday, so very important, because we can sort of bounce things. Oh, I've heard that before. We can sort of bounce things off of each other and ground ourselves together as a group, right? Our good vibe tribe. Yeah.
Yeah. And part of I was talking to a friend. Today's Wednesday. It was last week. It was last Thursday because it was one of the fellows that I counsel. We're just talking a little bit, and I was just we're just talking about. Oh no, it was somebody else because Teresa was at.
That many friends?
I have lots of friends. I'm trying to go. Who was I talking what to? But sometimes I'm smart. I might say something to you, and then I'll repeat it 3 or 4 times a week, so I know that I probably told everybody, right?
I do the same.
Yeah,
That's right.
just in case. But
You
it
know
was
what you know.
Teresa was at her best friend's daughter's wedding, so an Indian wedding.
Oh,
And so
nice.
we were just talking about how in different cultures, how they'll like we're talking about with you, they'll all live together. And so, well, we live in a world now in a country
Yeah.
where like you're seeing out here, I don't know about there, you're seeing people who are have a good job and they need to have roommates.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
They don't even have,
That's
they're
right.
doing shared kitchens, they're just renting a room and they're paying
Yeah,
$1,000
I
to rent a
know.
room, right?
Terrible.
So, but
Terrible.
we live in a culture, been going for a long time where we think we're the whatever conclusion we come to is ultimate truth. And the danger in that is we blindside ourselves because we're not open. Like there's nothing wrong with having. I was going to say what you were saying earlier. There's nothing wrong with having strong convictions. Say, well, this is what I believe.
Yeah.
But in that, um, be open to people's difference of what they believe. And I read this article of a psychologist, one of the guys I follow, and he says sometimes it's out of fear. He says we're Michelle and I we don't get very political or talk about religion here. We want to like just we can tell a little bit. We're not trying to push agendas or start
That's right.
World War III, right?
Right.
But me and Michelle were talking before here about how can how can somebody live in so much denial, like so much denial, beyond like common sense?
Yeah.
But it's the psychologist says it's we don't understand that, but we may not to that extreme be guilty of that in different ways, right? So there's nothing wrong with get information. I'll use another example. My daughter's car is toast. We're trying to deal with it, and our brother Tim is a parts car guy,
Ah.
but he's an expert. Nobody knows more than him.
Hmm.
He's never going to be on here, so I can say that. Um,
Well, he might be on our YouTube page.
and he'll shoot. I'll blame the other brother.
Okay. Yeah. You do
But
it. Do
and
it.
then my daughter's friend. So you've got two people that are in distance and with diagnosing this car that the engine's dead, but trying to
Right.
you give them the diagnostic and they're going. One says, well, it might be that, but probably not. You need to do so. It's different, and both of people are fine, right? So it's like seeing a doctor. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with you, Michelle. I think you
Yeah.
just need to do some breathing exercises, right? And
Exactly. Right.
then you go to a specialist or somebody else with different education knowledge, and they go, well, maybe because I said this before. You know what? The best thing that happened to me last year, Michelle, been a year and a half, is this. I have this young Indian medicine doctor,
Oh,
and that was the beginning of transforming my life with losing up to this point 50 pounds.
yeah.
She talked about type 2 diabetes.
Amazing.
She talked about, and she didn't slam anybody. She was great. She goes, our cells are like our body from the caveman, however she said it. Our cells are like hunter cells. They don't have our mind, so they don't know when they're going to get their next meal and fat. And
That's right.
some food,
I
so
know.
they
That's right.
store, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I would have known some of the stuff at something, right time, whatever. But with her information and encouragement, and then giving me some, things to help me, it's great. But you know what? I was open minded.
I was just going to say, you have to be open to receive. You might have heard it. I might have said that to you 10 times prior. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. And you and you weren't in that moment of just being ready and open to receive. I don't know how else to explain it. So you're
Uh,
exactly right. You needed those words and those moment, and maybe it's the way she said it. Maybe it's the before and the after sentence that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You're so right. It's that aha moment.
So if you're interested in movies again, I should
Yes.
get paid for mentioning so many movies on here. It's
You
crazy.
should reach out to like Netflix or something.
So on Amazon Prime, if you have that, whoever has that. So with what we're talking about, there's a great movie, if I can find it, and it's about Tolkien talking. Oh, it's not Lewis. Tolkien is talking to, oh, who was the guy? Um, movie about Tolkien talking to. I gotta look it up now. It's gonna drive me nuts, but I'll find it. And I'll put it on here. But this movie is recent, and Tolkien is back in England, and it's during the war, and he's talking to this who was like one of the main psychologists, like from the 40s.
Oh, I don't know. You're seriously asking me this?
Oh yeah, no, who was? Oh my word, why about Tolkien and geez,
If you know, put it in the chat, everybody. If you know
yeah.
the
But
answer.
so it's about Tolkien, who kind of a faith guy, and it's about this other guy who's non-faith. He's the inventor of psychology. I can't remember. I should know this. My word. Anyways, the movie, and I'll put it in the chat, and then if people want, like, I think my movies are pretty decent. I can give you fluff movies, but the movie's about this guy who's got a health issue, but he calls Tolkien to him. It's right after World War I, maybe, and and the guy says, he goes, Tolkien, you're a smart guy. How can you believe that rubbish about? And he says rubbish about like Christianity, and they're polar apart about their
Yep.
existence and the way they communicate and talk, and they rib a little bit, but just and then actually at the end of the movie they say we know that whatever this guy was had a conversation with somebody. We don't know if it was Tolkien, but we think it
Right.
was. So it's a little fictitious, but it's so good because to me, me and Teresa watch. I'm watching, go man, like it's slow. It's not like Mission Impossible or Fast and Furious,
Yeah.
but it's such an interesting thing about them learning to listen to each other.
Interesting. And I think today, because that speaks volumes to the world today, and it's so easy to not understand, like, where the heck is Tom coming from with those ideas? Right. But I have to realize, just using you for an example, but I think the algorithms, the way the social media is set up, um, has been a blessing and a curse altogether. And
Right.
the way that it works, like if you're okay, so let's just use Trudeau for an example. So if you're
Yeah.
pro Trudeau, all your news feed, all your Facebook, all your Twitter, even your YouTube, if you have a profile, and you actually like have it logged into something, it's always going to be more of the same. So if you're pro, and just using him for an example, or if you're a vegan and you think meat is like, let's go that route, like whatever it is, it's going to be more validation, more validation. Now you've got air fryers for vegans. Now you've got meeting groups for vegans. You're never going to see anything that says, hey, there's protein in meat or whatever that looks like. So I think I watch some stuff every once in a while of like Zuckerberg in Congress or whatever, and they totally own it, and it's got its value. If I want to look for a Volkswagen Beetle that's yellow, and I do a search on it, it's great that all of a sudden I'm going to see all the places in Sarnia Lambton that sell them. But when it comes to those those opinions, because at the like when we were all growing up, you, me, and I think everybody who's watching now or later, we come from a time where the news wasn't 24/7. You When you watch the news, there would be the anchor who would have his monologue that might have a little bit of opinion, but they showed both sides. So what's good with Ukraine, what's bad about Ukraine,
Yeah.
why we should help them, why they're corrupt. Just using it like just for two different sides. We're not getting that anymore. So no wonder people are like clashing heads over the same topic and then being like, well, that guy must be crazy. How doesn't he know? He doesn't know because he's not, and you have to, because I do this sometimes with my YouTube. I notice it gets really leaning a certain way. And so I literally go in and I start looking up other things just to make it more neutral. And I'll let them come up, I'll click on them, I'll
Yeah.
start checking them out, right? Or if I find that my YouTube's too heavy, I'll be like, how to tie dye a peace sign. I don't know, like I'll just put random things in there. Um, and start just expanding it so that it mixes it up. But when you see people extreme and on anything is never going to be good. But that's how that happens.
Yeah.
Is their laser vision onto it. They're taking in all the BS and people are very wild with their words. And then we end up in this bizarro world we live in.
Well, and I'm in sales, right? So we this guy, the psychologist, talks about this mindset of people. He says it's the old snake oil stuff, right? So here's so my apologies, people. It was not Tolkien. Tolkien was a friend of C.S. Lewis, and it
Oh,
was the movie's called Freud's Last Session. It's on Amazon Prime, and it's C.S. Lewis, and who plays Freud is Anthony Hopkins.
oh, interesting.
It is like if you like kind of mind movies, but it's people in a difference
Right.
that can can communicate and I can't remember, like you say it's a good movie, don't remember the ending, but in the ending it wasn't it was the journey thing, right? So but yeah, I think in this environment, and some of it's new, it's wrapped in a different you know shiny paper, right? But
Sure.
like you said, if you search for a brown purse, brown purse, brown purse, brown purse, brown purse, brown purse, um then doesn't matter what you think. It's actually with AI, and I'm not like a perfection with I'm not like a genius with this. I know a little bit. I know little bit about lots of stuff, right? And in
Absolutely.
it, like even with AI now, like if you think about AI with everything we deal with, like even Google search or
Oh,
AI
quote
on the
system.
banks and
Yeah,
all this stuff, right? And they're not programmed to adapt to what you're asking them. They're programmed, even though some of the AI on Google that they'll bring an algorithm. But I was trying to talk to a bank today about changing my mortgage payment from one bank to another bank because I'm just using a different bank now, right?
yeah,
I went on that website trying not to get angry, and I went everywhere, 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 and it's my mortgage. I owe them like $100,000, right? It shouldn't be that difficult. So I have to wait 20 minutes on the phone. The lady was gold. She was
right.
wonderful, did
Yeah.
it. But I asked her at the end, I said, okay, you've been great, but why wouldn't, like they have all these other questions. Why wouldn't they have the question I want? Same as with my cable company
Yeah.
or my phone company. I'm going, oh my word, I'm not asking that. I'm not asking that. I'm asking this, right?
Right.
So
Right.
it's a bit of our world, right? And so saying that, because we just did our 40-minute introduction. And for everybody that's just joined us, this is our
Hey
30th live.
everyone. Woo!
We're going to be pom-pomming all day.
Gotta turn my blur off.
Pom-pomming sounds like I'm either drinking a lot of drinks. Oh, and my
Yeah.
day it was called double fisting,
Oh, me too. That's
yeah,
right.
which could be taken in a wrong way, right?
And you
So
can put a third one in the middle if you're really skilled.
let me go through. I'm gonna turn my light on here just for my old eyes. So let me go through. I was saying this to Michelle. So Michelle is in these talks here, like we're pretty casual and go with the flow.
Yeah.
But Michelle has done an incredible job putting them on YouTube,
Thank
and
you.
just we made sure we had headers on there so people are checking out. But we want to encourage you. And I put it on my Facebook today about going to the YouTube channel,
Good.
because it's one of those things that I'm finding more and more people are, the people I'm in contact personally, through work, and that they're all having, they're using some language and body language saying stressors.
Oh, absolutely.
So here's the topic. So I'll go through. So I
Okay.
told Michelle I was going to do this. So I'm going to, you have a pen and paper?
I do. I have Post-its. I'm a Post-it girl.
You do
I have
whatever
them
you
all
want.
behind me.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to give you the topic. So I told Michelle,
What do I have?
and if anybody's got, you want to put stuff in the chat, there's a bunch of you on right now. Thanks for joining us. So I'm
Hello.
going to read through these, and if there's any of the lives or sessions, whatever you call it, that we talked about that something stood out to you, make a comment in there. You can either put, oh, when you talked about fear or this or whatever, or if something that we've gone over this last 6 months. So we're kind of doing a review. So here's the topics. I think from the beginning, introduction was one,
Yep.
not counting that one. Fear, eating on a budget, self-talk,
Yep.
seasonal depression, forgiveness, kindness, resetting, limiting beliefs, breaking cycles, triggers, the value of experience, creating a mindset for success, working through adversity, the power of laughter,
Mm.
growing into the best version of yourself. Part one was setting goals. Part two was to break down the goals. Overcoming trust issues, which was, I thought, was one of the good one.
Mm.
Decluttering, the power of encouragement, self-perception, influencers, protect your progress.
Mm.
My writing's horrible, by the way. Nature versus nurture,
Mm.
identity, connections, adding in activity, stress, enabling, coping, and I think the last one was the power of music.
Yes, it was.
What
Very
a
good.
list, eh?
Yeah, that was a long list. That's good. As you were reading it out, I was thinking about the ones I think would be my favorite, and I ended up with 7
You
that
came
I
up with 7?
really, yeah, really stood out to me. The nature versus nurture really did, I think, because that ties in so well with our story. It's something that's top of my mind quite
Yeah.
a bit. The eating on a budget, um, that stood out to me because it's such a core part of what I do. That's actually our topping today was eating sort of the same sort of thing, grocery shopping. Self-talk definitely is something that I might even rewatch that one at some point. It's something that I'm working on all the time, and I'm actually calling people out on all the time. Not in a rude way, but in a, add the word yet, or why are you shoulding on yourself or whatever. And I said should. Kindness, definitely. Breaking cycles is such a big one. And
Yeah.
I find that as I watch my children are now adults and their parents, like that they are our parents, and how, we can make the grandchildren hopefully with less baggage, but I think they're going to have different baggage.
Yeah.
It's right. Because now they have, like, I was thinking about Gemma the other day, and it would be the same, I believe, with Charlotte, that she probably doesn't have any pre COVID memories. Do I have the wrong girl? Is
No,
that
you're right.
yeah, okay. So that's an interesting twist when you think like Gemma did kindergarten homeschool,
Yeah.
right? She'd remember the mask, although she didn't wear it very much, but still. So that really is an interesting one. And I think we should come back to all these at different times. Laughter is such a great tool for success. So I think that is a great topic. And then trust is hard, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's trusting self, trusting others, trusting somebody when you've been scorned, right? Or maybe you feel like you've been, whether you have been or not, right? So that's a twofold. And then I think How many was there? There was this is number 30. So we
29. Yeah.
so 29. So 29 that you probably mentioned the same movies a bunch of times.
Because nobody's listening, nobody's watching them yet. Come on.
Oh, just tell
Peanut
them
Butter
you watched
Falcon.
it, would you?
Make a peanut butter sandwich and watch the Peanut Butter Falcon. Be
Oh,
awesome.
see, I haven't watched it yet.
I know.
I know, but I
But
watched them all. I watched
but
all of that.
but here, so here's the funny thing. You just I like using the word trigger. Some people don't like I use that word. Some people they flip to a negative.
Goes both ways.
And then I think of the psychologists
Yeah.
with the ink blots. What do you see? Like so,
Mhm.
so it's interesting how it's interesting. We talked about perception, perspective before.
Right.
It's interesting what a word or could be a physical expression, how it affects us in different ways, right?
Yeah.
So here I wrote. So check this out. Interesting. So I did 7 too. I already had them, but I just went over them, right?
Yeah.
Self-talk, breaking cycles, nature versus nurture, decluttering, I thought was great.
Okay.
Identity,
Mm.
kindness, enabling. So I think we had 4 or 5 the same.
I think so too. The core were the same.
Yeah. But one of the things,
Interesting.
so in all of this stuff, I mean, we say this every time, our goal, like here's, we said earlier about open-mindedness might be another one to
Oh,
look at.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Open to change. That's
Yeah.
another, just like what you're saying.
Yeah, because we're talking about politics is all over the news, right? So that's obvious, right?
Yeah.
And so the hard thing, and it could be like I was saying earlier, there's a psychologist. If I could find the paper that or the article I read, I'll maybe share it. But he talks about our Western thinking it's like it's like having a lawnmower, and I don't mow lawn, so I'm bad example. I'm probably going to ruin it. But where you can change the blade from just going over the top or go deep to go to cut, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So our mindset, and it's the Western world, and actually a lot of it. See, a lot of sales stuff comes out of some of the things that they did back in the wars, the way they would try to get a prisoner to tell them the truth, right? So we
Right.
learn these psychological mannerisms, and they just become part of our nature, right? In Western world, right? We feel entitled. Well, why do we feel entitled, right? So the same thing with opinions. We
Right.
get kind of into this thing of no, like if we talk about like polarizing topics. So instead of saying like I do this all the time. Like I'm a storyteller. So when I listen to people's stories, it's their stories. I can't say it's right or wrong. I wasn't there,
Yeah.
but I can say my story. And then somebody they can say, well, that's just like stupid, but it doesn't matter because I know my journey and story. And it doesn't matter if how many times, Michelle, I bet you and me and everybody else listening, how many times if we were to look back in our 20s and 30s and those of us in 40s, 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
how many times that we had a thought and an opinion a certain way that we pivot?
Absolutely. Exactly.
Dozens of times, right?
Your whole life. Yeah.
So one of the things I did years ago. So this is the bag of what we've talked about that we'll continue to talk about. Have you ever done like your lifeline, like your timeline from like A to B or whatever? Like not from like 6 months in the womb, but I did this not in a place of getting counseling. We're talking about this, and it kind of reminded me. That's a better way of saying triggered. Reminded me.
Yeah.
My work we just did one of my work last year, and it's 42 years my company's been going, right?
Yep.
And they talk about like so this year, and there'd be things that going up. Well, this was good. Okay, well, so they didn't make stuff up, and they actually, by the way, they used post-it notes all over the wall.
Ooh,
It was so cool.
Yeah.
And what it was, and I don't know if we talk objective thinking. We should talk about that.
Yeah.
Right
I'll
there.
add it to my list.
Add it to your notes. So
Yeah.
there's something about in wellness. There's something. See, we're only going to go so far with what we know or what we think or we know, whatever, right?
Right.
And it usually takes a crisis. And that's what I was saying earlier. Like the people that are stressed out and worried about World War, Russia doing this and them doing this, and not having enough money to buy fruit,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
The stress anxiety is up, right? So you've only, whatever conclusions you've used, or decisions you've used up to that point will only get you to that point, right? Right? It's that whole thing, that, what's that line that somebody who does the same things looking for different results, right?
Oh, that's the definition of insanity.
Yeah. So there's something that that by the way can happen. One of my favorite moments, you shared two videos. Your videos have been gold, by the way.
Oh, good. Thank
The
you.
video you shared, probably my top thing in this, and it's got to do a little what I'm talking about, self image, right?
Yeah.
Of the guy that was drawing, he didn't see the people, but he drew them, and
Very
then they had somebody that looked at the person.
Yeah.
Our self perception,
Yeah.
because what we'll do if I feel threatened by you, then I'm not going to listen to you. Like, I was going to be silly. If you love Trudeau, but then you're going to pull, but whatever side that, or hockey, like, oh, you like the Leafs suck, whatever, right?
Right.
And sports is different, right? But to be able to have objective thinking, going, okay, well, I don't agree with you, but I'm interested. So tell me why you think
Yeah.
that.
Exactly right.
How many people have you had to change in your journey with WW? If I'm allowed to say that.
Yep.
Um, that it took time
It's a
to
process.
work through, where all of a sudden they started to believe that this actually can change their life. So,
Exactly right. I totally agree. And it's interesting because it's so easy to get defensive, take it personally,
yeah,
just respond. It's like every time the company might say, we're doing the either company, it doesn't matter, any company, we're doing an upgrade, we're changing a policy, we're changing the plan. And right away in my mind, I'm like, I'm not even gonna tell you because there's swear words involved.
yeah.
So I'm like, oh well, blah 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 blah. And then I have to rein myself in. Even now, I'm still the same. I automatically push back. I automatically hate the idea. I automatically am not interested because if it's not broken, don't fix it. But then I have to sit and think, well, you know what? Maybe it is broken. Huh. Well, I've been through lots of change in my life. I'll get through this too. Or I don't have an option. It's my work. I have to suck it up, buttercup. And then on the other end, I always end up thinking it was a great idea, or it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, or whatever. So this is me working on me because I know even that I know better and I'm positive and accepting, I still respond. Right. It's so funny how we do that, right? But you know what? And just going back to what you were saying there, remember a time when we didn't know what was going on in the world, when we didn't know the high crime rates that are going on, or we didn't know that there's, whatever going outside of our spectrum, we were absolutely fine. There was lots of things that were going on that we didn't know about. So it wasn't consuming us mentally. Life was going on. We were still going to the farmer's market, and I'm not saying there isn't value in knowing, because there is, but it's a lot of times, and speaking generally, people think the world is such a mess, where, not saying it isn't, but I'm sure there's a lot of things we know about now that have been going on for generations. We just didn't have the knowledge, we didn't have the connection.
So here, let me ask you a question. Just what you said, right?
Yeah.
And you may not answer it right away. Maybe think about it. What are your thoughts? Would it be, I don't know if easier is the right word, it would be different. So would it be, here, harder, I'll say harder. Would it be harder for you to know what you know now and to go back 40 years? Or, so you know what you know now,
Yeah.
go back 40 years and living in that, let's say back to the future a little bit, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Or would it be harder of the Michelle 40 years ago to be through a wormhole to come to today? What do you think would be the hard? What would be harder?
I think to come through the wormhole to today,
So you think it? So
because I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't. I
so
wouldn't
you
believe it.
so and again, we can change our minds, right? So you're saying
Oh,
you think it
for
would be
sure.
easier to come with less knowledge into the future
Yeah.
with all that we have,
Everything going on. Yep.
or so you're going from counting to one, two, three, all of a sudden to counting to 10
Yep.
instead of counting to 10 and going back into one, two, three.
Yeah. I
So
think
you almost think having so much going on and to go back, it's either going to be too simple or bored for you, or you're going to,
I
you
think
know,
I'd love every minute.
what's that?
I think I'd love every minute.
To be this smart and go back then?
Yeah, I think I would. I think I would embrace that simpler life. I don't know, like I mean it's a hypothetical, you never know. But I think so. But I think if I because going back, I'm taking my knowledge with me. Am I taking my knowledge with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I think I would appreciate it. And then yeah, I it would be interesting to see what's coming, knowing what's coming. Where when you think 40 years, we still had a phone on the wall with a cord. We still had 6 o'clock and 11 o'clock news. We still in like we didn't lock our doors. We went out to this like if I'm still an adult, obviously, when you're sending me back there. But no, I think yeah, I think that's the way, that's what I would pick. I think coming up here, I don't know. I don't know what I would think between the technology, the chaos, the BS, the food banks, the tent cities. Yeah. Wow.
I don't even, so interesting. So now, see, we won't do a session on here, people. This is, I'm not
Yeah,
going to
we're
have
just
Michelle lie
talking.
on a couch and
We
close her
haven't got
eyes.
that kind of time.
Not doing that. But it's interesting because, see, this is my love of psychology and
Mm,
who we are, and like without prejudice per se, to for the most part, right? I
mm.
watch a show called I've been binge watching a show called Forensic Files, which is horrible because it's about cold cases,
Yeah, I
but
like it.
it's it's intriguing to me about how with scientific evidence, but how the whole profiling kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but so here's the thing. So you mentioned for you to, and if we did a poll with everybody on here right now, I should get back on here with everybody on here. It would be interesting to like you said, if you were coming, if your past self came into your future, all these things like tent cities, a few that would be all kind of confusing, right? So
Yeah.
in our experience, you in your town and me in my town, that would stick out, right?
And cell
But
phones would stick
yeah,
out.
it would be like technology, but see, and
Yeah.
we're not even on the cusp of technology. Like there's things happening now, like that whole guy that walked in space, whatever, that billionaire. Like there's things happening
Oh yeah.
stealth wise that we have no idea. So that kind of example I was giving you came what made me think of going back to movies. There's a great movie on I should get paid for this. Amazon Prime, you got to pay for it. On YouTube, it's 99 cents, but it's called Yesterday. English movie. It's about this Indian English dude, and he plays a bit of guitar, and he starts playing the Beatles songs,
Yeah.
but nobody has heard of them but him. He's going, come on, the Beatles, right? So it's like the Beatles, all of their stuff existed, but they didn't exist. Incredible,
Oh,
like,
yes.
and the music's like phenomenal,
Of
right?
course, I'm sure. Yeah.
Right. But so part of it, going back to the kind of the beginning of what we're talking about and what stimulates us,
Yeah.
talking about mentally, which can affect physically and all that. That's the challenge when you start talking going back to the old days. I think how fast, how up to speed would it be? How hard it would be from somebody with all of this to go back to a slower life, or somebody in a slow life moving up to a fast life? Like who would catch up first, right?
Right.
And it's interesting because in some reality, you can't hide in a shell anymore.
No, right.
Like you can't pretend like if you're not into politics, totally smart, stay away from fake news and all the other crap.
Yep.
But you need to understand that it'll have an effect on us. Now you don't have to respond to it. So I'm not saying like I
Right.
know some great people that avoid stress and news and all that. Good for you. But it'll have an effect on you. If there's a cure for cancer and you just don't want to know about the doctors, or if there's
Absolutely.
manipulation, or if there's threats of war, like we live in society where talking about, as we're getting faster and faster, where everything affects us more and more. Things that wouldn't affect us, talk about going back 40 years for you and me, you would have been 12 and I
16.
would have been 23 or something like that.
16. I would have been 16.
The fastness of the world out there of wars, even though we lived after World War One and Two.
Right.
See, the other thing, we don't know that part of history. Um, Me being a bit older, I don't know if you had the experience remembering, like I have a memory. Now I tell people memories, like memories that some memories that are in the front, your frontal cortex, whatever it's called in the front. There's the way our brain responds to our experience is different, right? There's things in the way back that your brain kind of remembers, but you maybe not will remember, right?
Right.
But I remember, like not visually, but I remember being 4 or 5 on a Saturday in Ontario, in Ottawa, at my grandpa Paul's place, and listening to Foster Hewitt. We were listening to a hockey game on the radio.
Oh, remember listening to stories in the car on the radio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like stories. Yes.
and it's interesting because then you go from that to like black and white. Like me and my daughter, who's 30, and so I'm twice her age. So we once in a while talk about, like, she goes, Dad, I don't even have, she goes, first of all, she says this, she goes, Dad, I know you from, she knows me for 30 years. She doesn't know me before,
Right.
the good, bad, and the ugly, right?
Sure.
So I find that intriguing. I think that's why I like history, because I'm a life learner. I believe that and I always want to be. I want to learn. If Michelle and I have conversations about things off the air sometimes, and I'll be intrigued, and she'll say, "Hey, what about this?" And I'll say, "What about?" So we're not fearful of each other.
No.
We're okay. We're not threatened, right? And
Right.
that's what you want to do. You want to find a place where you want to walk in peace. Don't be threatened. If you're fearful of government manipulation on any side,
Yeah.
fake news, all this, like that's one of the, my opinion, that's one of the incredible evils of our
I
Western world
agree.
right now.
That's right.
We are easily, not always to a fault for our own, manipulated.
Yeah.
We are coerced. We are we're incredibly taken advantage of. And I'm not saying like riot or do whatever, but I'm saying like you need to take a step back and you need to like be present and go, okay, what do I need for now? Like,
That's right.
right,
Yep.
what, and the show's about our wellness, right? What do I need to do now? I had a friend who just had a horrible, painfully financial pain of an issue of an oversight in his job
Mm.
that's probably cost him thousands of dollars. And I love this. I talked to him on, I texted him Monday. I said, hey, bro, you want to talk? However I talk, right? He goes, Tom, he told me briefly in the chat. He goes, I just had a really crappy time. I know you got my back, but like, I'll talk to you about it another day.
Sure.
That honesty, to
Right.
feel like he can be honest and not worry about me being rejected or my feelings hurt.
Right.
That's the win. By the way, you need to do that to yourself. You need to look, like, this resetting is so big to me right now. Look in the mirror or talk to a friend and just say, hey, I want to be not it's not a competition like some weird thing.
Yeah.
Um, I want what's best for me and my family for the rest of my life. I
Right.
don't know if I've got 5, 10 years, 20 years. I hope I don't have 30. I don't want to be 100. You
Right.
want to be 100, Michelle?
No. Well, I don't want to outlive my kids. So it's funny because Alec and I are 18 years apart, 19 years apart. And I said to him one day something about living to maybe 90. I don't know. I think that was around the number I said. And then he goes, well, statistically, you're going to outlive me because we're only 19 years apart and I'm a male, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, wow. But it really made me think. So however long they're gonna live, I will live till the day before.
Yeah.
That's right. Like, so yeah, that's exactly right. Oh, hey, Tammy.
So
Yay.
and so
We
in
made
that,
it.
so
Woo.
this is our 30th episode. Bum, bum,
And
bum, bum.
Tammy got on. Woo. Tammy's our sister. Woo,
Where are my
Tammy.
glasses?
I love you.
I don't know
Mwah.
where to put my glasses. Oh, here they are.
Oh, she'll want them.
Our 30th episode.
There you go. She'll
It's my
want.
Elton John glasses.
She's gonna love them
Um,
because they're bedazzled like her.
so
But
talking, just saying what you're saying, and we'll go on for another. We'll go to for after ish, whatever, right? But saying what you're saying, Michelle. See, that would be an obvious. We would say that, right?
mhm,
That like we probably all know people that have lost children or
sure.
grandchildren, and like losing anybody you love is hard. And then this talk about our in our mind, this whole idea of outliving, uh, like outliving our kids. Like actually, go back 100 years ago, it was common.
Yeah,
Actually, not even 100 years. Go back probably 60, 70 years, where you would have how many stillborn or like I know
absolutely.
people with that the moms had 15 babies and 11 lived.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, for
And
sure.
and so part of going back what you're saying, so that would be the obvious. We wouldn't want our kids to be shot or hit by a train. With mom, her about some of her children battling through cancer is fearful for her, or actually not just cancer, all the health,
All the
because
health. That's right.
all the health. So she would say with all of it, right? But when you said that, it made me think of not that I'm going to live like I don't live in like I don't allow fear and these things to trap me in fearful of the future, right? But when you're saying that, I'm thinking, how do I deal with grief and
Yeah,
bereavement and pain? I said probably near the beginning we started doing the shows during COVID that a 2 year stretch I knew personally I think over 50 people who died
yeah, same.
overdose. Um,
Yeah.
couple were murdered, cancer, diabetes.
Everybody can relate to
Yeah,
that, right?
and these are people and you might know at different
Yeah,
you know levels, but they're still people we've had contact with, right? And
exactly.
so how we learn to healthy grieve, how we learn to help healthy process, because again, talking about culture we live in,
Yeah,
we got fake news and all this stuff going on, and then we kind of stuff. So even like we think like if I don't look, then the car's not coming at me. You know what I mean?
right. That's
Dealing
right.
with health, dealing with our physical wellness, which we both you do, I do a little bit, you do. Me dealing with my personal physical health,
Yeah,
but dealing with our mental wellness, like understanding holistically
that's
the way our body needs to be, and we can be like in a real crappy time. I've got friends in the Ukraine as an example, right? So
right.
it's got nothing to do with who's right on each side. People dying on each side is horrible, right?
Absolutely.
And
Death is horrible.
so one of the people I know there, they were one of my coffee customers a few years back. They ran a coffee shop
Oh,
in
okay.
Langley. Then I was there. They were from Ukraine, right?
Yep.
And so I'm in contact with Nick, and Oksana, Nick and Oksana.
The-
And you know what? I can't imagine what's going on with their family there. I can't even
oh,
fathom.
absolutely.
But in little bits of talks, and he's harder as a guy and like the same. But if you don't process it, you're going to bend in some bad directions. You're going to medicate. You're going to isolate.
Yep.
You're going to live in lies. You're going to take it out of those you love. Like
Yep.
where I had somebody else, Michelle, come up to me this week, They said, I tried scream therapy. It works.
Oh, good. There
I
you
didn't
go.
invent scream therapy. If you're stressed out and you're having a bad day, outside of doing yoga and letting it go, that's good.
That's
If
good.
you need to go somewhere in the car and scream or sing really loud rock and roll songs in the car by yourself,
Yeah, that's a good one too. I support that.
there's something about releasing the energy, right, Michelle?
That's right.
This
Exactly.
pent up.
Yep, you feel literally lighter for it. And I think the other part of that is realizing that you know what? There's so many factors that tie in with your mental health. So maybe you need to send yourself for a nap. That's okay, right? Or just like, we take all our devices and we unplug them and we sit them for a minute, or your computer, and then you wait for a couple minutes and you plug it back in. We need to do that for self, whether it's disconnecting or literally, I send myself for a nap. I'm like, I've had enough of today for right now. I'm going to go have a 45-minute nap. I can't go too long. I have, or else it's not good. But I have to go for the right length of nap, and then I'm good. I come back, I'm clearer. Sometimes when in my nap, I have a revelation or something, I just come back, or even come back with courage and confidence to be like, you know what, I can't change it, but I can't change it. I'm just gonna put on my big girl pants and I'm gonna suck it up, and tomorrow to be a memory, right? Whatever it is, this too shall pass. One of my
Now, you had
favorite.
a video, right?
Pardon me?
Did you have a video you were going to share?
I do if we have time, but it has nothing to do with anything we're
Well, it
talking
doesn't
about.
matter, right? That's the way we are. We're like Seinfeld, right?
We
So,
truly
so,
are
so so get the video ready. But I was going to say this, right?
ready.
With like, if you're happy with where you're at, then you're happy with where you're at. That's okay.
Yeah.
Life's going to shift. Unexpected things, good and bad. Somebody in Ontario won, like I saw on the news, like Quebec and Ontario, somebody won like $40 billion each or something like that.
Oh, nice. It wasn't me, but that's
That's
great.
great for those people. That doesn't
So
mean your
great.
life will be better. You may have more perks, right? But here's the thing: if we don't um, like, it's like a boiling pot. Like, so if you're cooking, like you want to boil water and you want to cook noodles or whatever, crafted or whatever, right?
Yep.
If you have the lid on, so it'll boil faster. If you don't take that lid off, it'll overflow, right?
Right.
We're kind of created the same way. We're created that way biologically.
Yep.
You keep putting crap into you, and it can be all types of crap.
That's
At
right.
some point when you get our age, my age, then Michelle's age, but our age, your body over, it's like having tires on a road that eventually will wear out, right? Our body and our mind and just who we are, probably our personality, everything um, can be affected, right? So learning to reset. I think I said I reset every day. I take a couple of minutes. I don't answer my work phone. I close. If stuff's are on, I can just close my eyes and I just focus on my breathing. I just need to kind of take that static, hashtag
Right.
static,
Right.
hashtag take the static out.
I think hashtag secret meditator. You're a meditating ninja. Nobody knows you're doing it. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Oh, here we go.
So
Dun 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 dun. Oh, there you go. Very good. Does it stink in there?
no, this is my metaphor to take all the toxins out of the world
There you go.
and live in clarity. It's actually for my granddaughter.
There you go. I
I
love
bought I
it.
buy her like stuff she doesn't need.
Yeah, that's what we do,
So
right?
set up your video.
It's ready. I'm that fast. It's good. Or oh, you mean verbally? Oh, I'll set up the video. Okay. Excuse me. All right. So I picked this video because I really liked it. And it doesn't relate to really anything that we talked about today, or really any day, I don't think. Um, but I think it'll speak volumes to everybody because we have to create our own joy. We rely on so many other people, and sometimes we end up alone, right? And so it's interesting what you're saying about, you can just hide out in your house and watch the world go by, or you can participate. So this sort of ties in with this, and it's actually an instructional video. I think you're going to appreciate it. And let me make sure I share the sound here. and it's not very long. It's only a couple minutes, like all my videos are. But I really like it. And that's why I think I've saved it for, oh, I don't know, I can't see from here, probably like 10 or so years. So it's called How to Be Alone. Let's watch.
If you are, at first, lonely, be patient. If you've not been alone much, or if when you were, you weren't okay with it, then just wait. You'll find it's fine to be alone once you're embracing it. We could start with the acceptable places, the bathroom, the coffee shop, the library, where you can stall and read the paper, where you can get your caffeine fix and sit and stay there, where you can browse the stacks and smell the books. You're not supposed to talk much anyway, so it's safe there. There's also the gym. If you're shy, you can hang out with yourself in mirrors. You could put headphones in. And there's public transportation, because we all gotta go places. And there's prayer and meditation. No one will think less if you're hanging with your breath, seeking peace and salvation. Start simple. Things you may have previously avoided based on your avoid being alone principles. The lunch counter, where you will be surrounded by chow downers, employees that only have an hour and their spouses work across town, and so they, like you, will be alone. Resist the urge to hang out with your cell phone. When you are comfortable with eat lunch and run, take yourself out for dinner, a restaurant with linen and silverware. You're no less intriguing a person when you're eating solo dessert and cleaning the whipped cream from the dish with your finger. In fact, some people at full tables will wish they were where you were. Go to the movies, where it is dark and soothing, alone in your seat amidst a fleeting community. And then take yourself out dancing, to a club where no one knows you. Stand on the outside of the floor until the lights convince you more and more and the music shows you. Dance like no one's watching, because they're probably not. And if they are, assume it is with best and human intentions. The way bodies move genuinely to beats is, after all, gorgeous and affecting. Dance until you're sweating, and beads of perspiration remind you of life's best things, down your back like a brook of blessings. Go to the woods alone, and the trees and squirrels will watch for you. Go to an unfamiliar city, roam the streets, there are always statues to talk to, and benches made for sitting give strangers a shared existence, if only for a minute, and these moments can be so uplifting, and the conversations you get in by sitting alone on benches might have never happened had you not been there by yourself. Society is afraid of alone, though, like lonely hearts are wasting away in basements, like people must have problems if, after a while, nobody is dating them. But lonely is a freedom that breathes easy and weightless, and lonely is healing if you make it. You could stand swathed by groups and mobs, or hold hands with your partner. Look both further and farther in the endless quest for company. But no one's in your head, and by the time you translate your thoughts, some essence of them may be lost, or perhaps it is just kept. Perhaps in the interest of loving oneself. Perhaps all those sappy slogans from preschool over to high school's groaning were tokens for holding the lonely at bay. 'Cause if you're happy in your head, then solitude is blessed and alone is okay. It's okay if no one believes like you. All experience is unique. No one has the same synapses, can't think like you. For this, be relieved. Keeps things interesting, life's magic things in reach. And it doesn't mean you aren't connected. The community's not present. Just take the perspective you get from being one person in one head and feel the effects of it. Take silence and respect it. If you have an art that needs a practice, stop neglecting it. If your family doesn't get you or a religious sect is not meant for you, don't obsess about it. You could be, in an instant, surrounded if you need it. If your heart is bleeding, make the best of it. There is heat in freezing, be a testament.
How awesome was that?
So good.
So good. I agree. And you know, it's so interesting. Of all the things she said, I love that avoid being alone principle. Where did that come from? That it's that, like going to the show by yourself, going out for dinner by yourself. And it's so funny because when I used to be a fine dining server, more so than when I worked at a greasy spoon, but in the fine dining, because we were attached to a hotel, like we were the dining room attached to the hotel. And so people would come and they'd be maybe here for the, work trip or something, staying by themselves. And they come and they bring a book and they would just, they would love every moment of it. And they were never, I mean, I wasn't reading their mind, but it was commented more than once how much they enjoyed the solitude, how much a mom enjoyed eating food while it's hot, or not having to have a conversation, or self reflection, or both of us were people watchers. So, and again, not in a creepy way, in a normal way, or at least for myself. But yeah, so it's so interesting because, again, that's sort of a stigma that has that's like a stigma that has, sorry, I put something on the screen here by accident. um that's like a stigma that has come across. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, they would say, like, when you're don't go to a bar by yourself. There was, like, once I got drinking age, that sort of thing. But like going to a movie by yourself, would you think of that? Would you think of, everything that she mentioned? And she's so right. Nobody is watching. Like, sorry, not sorry, but chances are, unless you really catch somebody's eye or something, they're not noticing. So if that gives you joy, join the book club, go for the bus ride, go for a trip, right? Travel on your own in a safe environment, of course, right? But, step out of your comfort zone. It's so very important. And we have to learn how to be alone.
We, I think we associate, or we can associate, maybe a better way of saying it. Um, if you're a loner, that maybe there's things like depression or things that you know what I mean, isolation, right?
Yeah, or what's
And
wrong with me? I'm alone.
I think so. The obviously I picked up a great video. By the way, you got to send it to me because I got to send it to
I
Teresa,
will.
my
I know
daughter.
the routine. Yeah.
And so in it, so this thing that we were saying earlier about like open-mindedness, right? You're in it, and if you understand what, not the specifics she's saying, like if somebody go, well, I wouldn't go dance by myself, I wouldn't go dance with anybody anyways, right? I never dance. But
Right.
it's not about the specific thing. It's about entertaining this idea that it's okay to be alone. If
Yeah.
you're a mother, and you're in a family, now you don't want to. You got to be honest with yourself. You don't want to abandon your family. You don't want, like, don't lie to yourself, right?
Yeah,
But
of course. Different
me,
scenario.
me and my wife. I mean, the reason we're separated now and like we see each other, so love each other, but we're just not together, is she came. She might not ever be on here, but I'd say anyways. We say it publicly. It doesn't matter. She went through burnout and she had to deal with a severely depressed husband for years, so she was exhausted,
That's right.
and she's and menopause too, and so
Mhm.
she is finding her rhythm, and she
Right.
likes going to go for walks with friends, but she can go walk by herself and take it in, and her body takes in the fresh air and like going up the hill, but then her eyes take in the trees. If you ever look at all her pictures, right?
I love it.
So part of what it is, I think the gist of it for me is we live in a culture where everything sucks our soul
Yes.
ish, our lives, right? Our
Yep.
energy.
Yep.
And you know what we do for alone time, which I'm not doing because I'm talking to you guys. You know what I'm going to do when I'm done here? I'm going to go make something to eat and I'm going to watch TV.
Yeah.
That's my alone time, right?
Yep.
But I play guitar. I think people know I play guitar.
Mm.
This week has been a staycation for me. It's interesting you showed it, Michelle. This week for me, like today, I grounded myself. I didn't go out. And I like to go for drives and be by myself in the car. And I like to go to the park. But I had little bits and bobs to do to help my daughter. But I said, you know what? I'm just going to stay home.
Yeah.
And I cleaned and I was okay. I didn't need to do anything. Like I didn't feel obligated, right?
Right. Right.
But so the takeaway for that, to encourage everybody, is ask yourself the question going, where this is my reset, not doing everything she does, but my
Yeah.
reset alone with
Right.
me is
Right.
I have to do this. And by the way, going to a movie alone is totally awesome. Eating the whole popcorn by yourself, you have to share it.
See?
But
Exactly.
yeah, it's such a great, like, it's such a, actually, Michelle, it's a really good way to end, because in a way I think it does tie in, because in all the things we're talking about, we're talking about our different, not just struggles, but how do we balance life. This here is like, it's almost like the dessert, not the
There
cheat,
you go. Yep.
not the treat.
Right.
And because
Dessert.
if you don't treat yourself, what happens, you don't take care of yourself now, um, you want to reap the benefits now, but later. Last thing I was going to leave with, right? With something like this, right? There's a study, and I have to look at it from years ago. There was a study, I think it was predominantly men, and it was about retired men that didn't have a hobby.
Oh yeah.
And retired men that, and hobby could be golfing, working in the garage, working with work, could be the Elks Club, could be anything, right? Men who retired without some type of hobby after retired, they did either two things. They either went back to work, which isn't bad. They had to do something, is what it was.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know how to be alone, by the way. Because that culture, that's my age and older, right? But learning, even if you've got a spouse that you like hanging out with, is all great. Being busy, like me and Michelle, like, we give our energy away to people, but we both know how to make sure we're okay, right? But
Exactly.
this is a season, and you have to find for time for yourself.
Exactly. Make it a priority. Schedule it in if you need to. Set an
Since
alarm.
I've
Yeah.
gone and got, um, because I have issues, a little issues with my feet because of type 2 diabetes. I go as a guy by myself to a spa and I get my feet done.
Oh, good. I love that.
Right? I don't care. But if this sounds silly, go to a masseuse. If you got coverage and it's 60, $80, but you got to pay 20,
Yeah.
it's that brain dead. Then your body likes it too, right? So, anyways, that's all I've got.
Excellent. Very good. So
You guys are the best. Thank you. I am going to ask on the Facebook
here's to
page about,
34.
yeah, share your favorite moments or thoughts or things that became epiphanies that either we said or you came up on your own. It's not about us, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. And share your favorite movie Tom recommended that you didn't watch. Share that.
I'm gonna put all these movies up on there. So
Do it. I think you should. And
yeah,
then maybe, the trailers or something,
yeah.
right? Like just it with the trailer. So we'd like to take a minute and celebrate that Tammy, our sister, she made it on, I think, for the first time without watching a replay. So Tammy, we love you. We miss you. And everybody, just remember you're stronger than you think. You've accomplished some great things in your life, and there's more to come. Your story is not over yet. This is just another chapter. So have a great week. Don't forget how amazing and awesome you are. And we're going to do this again next week, aren't we, Tom?
Next week, same
That's
bat
right.
channel, same
Same
bat time.
bat time. Exactly. And if Tammy can make it, she can join us again next week, too.
Okay, see you
Take
guys.
care, everybody. Bye.
Fun.